Bryce Miller's 2024 season was a season to remember. In his sophomore campaign, he became just the second pitcher in Mariners history with a sub-3 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP in a qualified season. The only other pitcher to do this was Felix Hernandez back in 2014. And there was only 3 total pitchers in baseball with those same qualifications this year. The other 2 are Cy Young frontrunners. Over his 31 starts on the year, 180 1/3 innings pitched, Bryce finished 12-8 with a 2.94 ERA, a 0.976 WHIP, and 171 strikeouts to 45 walks. In just his second year in the big leagues, his first full season, he finished 8th in ERA, 4th in WHIP, tied for 4th in opponent's batting average. He was 11th in pitches per inning pitched, and he's currently projected by Fangraphs to be a top 10 finish in the Cy Young vote.
1-2. He goes fishing after that splitter.
And these are his results after just 7 years of pitching. He became a pitcher his senior year of high school and didn't become a starting pitcher until his senior year at Texas A&M back in 2021. Up to that point, he was a relief guy for the Aggies. The rapid growth of Bryce Miller's arsenal as a starting pitcher has been incredibly impressive. So let's take a look at what he's tweaked since his debut. But before we do, if you or someone you know is thinking of buying, selling, or refinancing a property in the Pacific Northwest, make sure to reach out to myself, Connor Webb, the Couch GM, as I'm a full-time mortgage broker during the day. I'm a numbers guy for work, even when I'm not talking numbers for baseball. It's my goal to help as many sports fans and athletes get into the home of their dreams, so feel free to reach out. My contact information will be in the description of this video. Now, let's get into it. During his ascent in the minor leagues, it was known that Bryce Miller's four-seam fastball was among the top out of all pitching prospects. This was his main pitch that he was using to dominate the minor leagues, and he also used a slider to work off of it. When he made his debut in May of 2023, he used that four-seam fastball over 70% of the time on his way to becoming the first Mariners pitcher with 10 strikeouts in their debut, and 8 out of those 10 strikeouts were on the fastball. And Bryce's fastball would rank 8th in all of baseball in 2023 with spin rate, with an average of close to 2,600 rotations per minute. Why exactly does this matter? Here's Mariners pitching coach Pete Woodworth to describe Bryce's fastball.
Bryce Miller's fastball, it's like a Lamborghini engine. Throws from like over top, but it's kind of like a low release, so it has like this kind of upshoot, flat, vertical approach angle. So where most guys, like tall guys, it's kind of coming downhill, he kind of throws his flat, and with that high spin and ride to it, when he throws it up in the zone, it just kind of takes off up there. Couple that with 96 to 100, you have a really good fastball.
And while it started out great, the league eventually adjusted, especially left-handed hitters. In his rookie campaign, lefties were hitting .303 with a .917 OPS off of him. He admitted that for his rookie season, he essentially had 2 out pitches against lefties, the four-seam fastball and the gyro slider. His four-seam fastball and that gyro slider were a combined 77% of the pitches that he threw to lefties. And credit to Bryce Miller and the coaching staff as Bryce continued to add pitches to his arsenal throughout the season. By the end of the year, he had a four-seam, a slider, a sweeper, sinker, and changeup. StatCast also picked up on him throwing a few curveballs as well.
Similar to most guys coming up from the minor leagues, like they have a weapon and you're just trying to build everything around that. He's got the big fastball and the secondary stuff. We spent all season tweaking and adjusting and evolving and experimenting and unleashing. The good pitchers in this game continue to evolve. Bryce Miller evolved a ton this year.
And while he was challenged by lefties, he still did great against righties. His rookie year to righties, he allowed a 200 batting average, a 549 OPS, and a 0.87 whip. He was a bit less limited on pitch types that he could throw to righties, still relying on his four-seam and slider over 77% of the time, but he also had that sweeper. So he entered the offseason looking for that put-away pitch against lefties. And pretty quickly, he shared updates on social media of him learning a splitter. The prior offseason, essentially the entire Mariners pitching staff learned a splitter. In 2023, Logan Gilbert held opponents to a 174 batting average off of his splitter, and George Kirby to just a 143. Bryce would consult with his teammates, check out the Senga Ghost Fork, and eventually found a video from Tread Athletics in which he would learn the grip that he currently uses. Then we entered the 2024 season and started to see it in game. Teams were pushing out lefty-heavy lineups against Bryce early in the year because everyone saw the scouting report from 2023. Apparently, they were not tuned in to the couch GM and they didn't know about the splitter. In just his second game of the year in Milwaukee, he matched a career-best 7 scoreless innings, racking up 7 strikeouts and not allowing a hit to any lefties in 13 lefty at-bats. It was also during this game that I thought Bryce might be throwing a curveball, but it turns out that it was his splitter breaking glove side. Typically, splitters break down and arm side similar to a changeup. However, Bryce's was jumping all over the place. It was breaking arm side, straight down, and breaking glove side.
With the splitter, from at least on the TV, it looks like it breaks arm side, but it also breaks glove side sometimes. Is that accurate?
Yeah, sometimes it cuts. Sometimes it's been like up to like 17 horizontal, and then it's been -3. So as long as it's depthy, I'm not too worried about which way it goes. So like I'm mainly just trying to be below 0 or near 0 and just throw it like a fastball. It kind of has a mind of its own sometimes though.
So it's the same grip. You're not gripping it differently or trying to do that?
No, and like the last one I threw to Dansby was like -10 vert and was like 2 horizontal. The ones earlier in the game, higher vert with more horizontal. So it's, like I said, it's a weird pitch, and I think the lack of spin kind of has it where it's not very consistent like horizontally, but as long as it's depthy, I'm good with whatever.
So it's like the splitter has the lower rotation, so the closer to 0, the more it has the chance to knuckle and kind of just go wherever the wind takes it.
Yeah, and like I've been, with it not being very consistent horizontally, I've still been able to command it pretty well, so like I'm happy with it.
Here's the leaderboards for the lowest spin rate on a splitter in 2024. Bryce Miller ranked 11th, with the average spin rate on his splitter at 912 rotations per minute. Logan Gilbert ranked 3rd at 640 rotations per minute. The lower the spin rate, the higher chance the ball will knuckle and move in unpredictable directions. In late May, MLB writer David Adler posted an article on MLB.com talking about Bryce Miller's splitter, or more so his 3 splitters in 1. By late May, here was the pitch grouping of Bryce Miller's 5 pitches. His four-seam fastball, his sinker, that splitter, a sweeper, and a slider. As you can see with all of his pitches aside from the splitter, it's a pretty tight grouping, meaning that overall his pitch shaping is relatively consistent. You can see with these different sections, it breaks up these splitters with run, these splitters with drop, and these splitters with cut. And then here is his split finger grouping by the end of the season. And here is Bryce Miller's split finger grouping compared to Logan Gilbert's. They're very similar. And the split finger was both of their best pitches on the year. Bryce Miller threw 147 split fingers, opponents had a 148 batting average against, and he racked up 54 strikeouts. Logan Gilbert allowed a 101 batting average against, and had 62 strikeouts with 407 total pitches thrown. And even though Logan Gilbert gave up a lower batting average against, it was Bryce Miller that was ranked as having the most valuable splitter in all of baseball per Baseball Savant, and Logan Gilbert's splitter ranked 13 on the same list. Here's an example of just how different his splitter can be. That first pitch to Duran was 16 inches breaking arm side, and that second pitch to Matt Olson was breaking 3 inches glove side. That's a difference of 19 inches in horizontal break with the same pitch. And keep in mind that home plate is 17 inches wide. But it wasn't just the splitter that he brought into 2024. He also started to mess with hitters' timing by playing around with his pitch delivery. I had noticed him doing this in bullpens, but April 12th against the Cubs was the first time that he did it in a game.
So last night we saw you do the little pause at the top of your motion, the double pump. Is that the first time that you did that in the game?
Yeah, it's the first time. I do it before every bullpen and pregame bullpen as well, so I figured I might as well. Been doing it since college, so I got like 5 years with it, so I figured I might as well try it. I try to mess with their timing a little bit in college, but I never did any pause. It would be like, I'd go quick. Yeah, like a slide step out of the windup, but I never did a pause. A few weeks ago, Woody was like, hey, you do this all the time, you might as well try it. Because like I always do it on fastballs, like in bullpens and stuff, just to like get everything in line. And usually I execute those, so he's like, you do it every day, you've been doing it for years, you might as well try it. But I tried it on the fastball for the strikeout, and then I tried it on a splitter also.
That was a strike.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But wait, there's more. On May 23rd, the Mariners traded for Mike Bowman and Michael Perez from the Orioles. Yes, the Mike Bowman who gave up the 50-50 home run to Shohei Ohtani. Well, that same knuckle curve he threw to Shohei has actually been a really good pitch. Bowman is allowing an expected batting average of 198, and while he was in Seattle, he showed Bryce Miller how to grip it.
Took it from Bowman. One day, he threw it like every pitch. It was really good, but I asked him for his grip, and I was like, yeah, I'll try to throw that. Because, like, my gyro slider, I don't know, I feel like it kind of underperforms. Doesn't get as much swing and miss as I want. So I'm always trying to tweak with stuff. And I threw it in the bullpen in Tampa, and it was pretty good. So I've been trying to add it in. Yeah, last week, 6th inning in Chicago, threw it like the whole inning. It worked. Call it a curveball, kind of like the death ball shape. I don't know. I'm just gripping it and trying to throw it as hard as I can. It's like a depthy slider or a firm curveball with less movement. So, like, it's not as depthy as like Kirby's curveball, but it's kind of like that in the middle pitch that, like, I think it'll get below barrels and should get some swing and miss.
And it absolutely got swing and miss. This was actually his pitch with the highest whiff rate, as batters were swinging through the knuckle curve 37.8% of the time. And because of all of these adjustments, the splitter, the pause in the windup, the knuckle curve, just to name a few, Bryce was able to take a massive leap from 2023 to 24, and via Baseball Savant, he's in the top 3rd percentile in overall pitch run value, fastball run value, and his overall off-speed arsenal is in the top 1% of baseball. And those adjustments year over year absolutely solved the lefty problem. He dropped lefties' batting average against by almost 100 points, and he dropped their OPS by 250 points in just one offseason. And I didn't even mention what he can do when he's not pitching. He's elite when he's on the bump, just not running over the bump. From getting started as a pitcher in 2017, to becoming a starting pitcher in 2021, to becoming one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball in 2024. Who's to know what's coming next year? Thank you for watching. For more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe to The Couch GM, and let me know in the comments below which player I should highlight in my next video.